Welcome to the Pink House Chronicles, the official vlog / podcast of Ben Owens Music, your official hometown music store, located at 1803 Plum Street in lovely Rimerton, Georgia. This is the show where we talk about gear, music, the shop, answer your questions, and much, much more. I'm Dave.
And I'm Chase.
Hey, how you doing today, Chase?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I like how we just started this conversation. We haven't pre-gamed anything.
No, nothing's playing. It's all flying by the seat of our pants.
We are like the illusions of everything. Should we just jump into it this week?
Let's get right into it.
We're just going to call it Gear Segment.
Gear segment. That works for me.
What is new in your gear world?
Well, I've got this deluxe reverb. I got a 68 reissue. I traded some gear around and managed to get rid of some stuff, and I finally got me an amp I can carry with one hand. So I've still got my Marshall clone rig that sits at the house, but this deluxe, for playing the country music that I'm playing, it's pretty perfect. So I'm in the process of downsizing my pedal board because I don't need as many pedals, and in a couple of instances I need different pedals. So I'm going to be on the hunt for some different overdrives than the ones I currently have.
But I think that amp you've demonstrated not only does the country twang,
it does. It will do just about anything you want it to with the right pedals. It's a great platform amp. Of course, the old, the 68. It's got the basement side and the vintage deluxe reverb side. So you put it on the basement side, put a couple of overdrives on there, and it can do almost some Randy Rhoads style stuff, but it does rock and roll great.
And in the near future, whatever that means, I'm going to be getting the Tone Master version.
Yes, which I'm anxious. When you do, we have to A/B them.
So yes, I think that's it. Yeah. We definitely do that. That's got to be a little bit. I gotta pay some stuff off first.
Well, we're both in the process of doing builds.
Yeah,
we've talked about that, keeping everybody abreast of the developments.
I did a short video that popped up not recently.
Yeah.
Recently up there of our 3 builds in the...
Yeah, Ben just recently finished his telly build. I've got my neck pocket sanded down enough to get the neck in there, and me and Dave went in halves on some amber tint and some lacquer, so we're going to start, hopefully next week, we're going to start spraying stuff, and we'll be putting some pictures up as we get them closer to completion.
On my Jazzmaster, I'm waiting for a wiring harness, and who knows when that's going to be rolling in. And then I got, from the same body that I bought the Jazzmaster, I got a Jazzcaster, a Telecaster body that's pine, but it's got that amber look to it.
Yeah.
And the other day, we got the pickups in, we got the Seymour Duncans in. I went with the Broadcasters.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those.
And I ordered a neck. It's not going to be lacquered, but it's going to have a slight satin finish on it, which I'm all right. I like the satin finishes over the straight poly on the back.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then got all the parts ordered. So next week, those I just was like, all right. I sold some stuff.
Yeah,
had some liquid in the bank account.
Yeah,
did the number in there, and but it's a cheaper build than the Jazzmaster. It's a little simpler.
Oh yeah.
But I went with the reverse. I went and just buy the wiring harness, and I got a reverse wiring harness, and so the pickup selector is going to be on the back end near the pickup, and so the volume and tom.
Well, you can still wire the tone and the volume anyway in any configuration you want.
But it was already pre-wired, and you just pay for it.
That's true.
And it's got the plate on it too, which is that one thing. I know you've got to get that ordered on yours, but it's just like there. And
yeah, I've got my.
It was a good deal.
I got the same pickups Ben put in his recent telly build. I got the Seymour Duncan La Brea, which are the Brad Paisley signature pickups. They're vintage output, but they do obviously the twang thing perfectly.
I think we just need to do a demo of Ben's on one of those Tone Jam amps.
I think
we should do that. I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
On there, what's new in the shop?
What's new in the shop currently? Let's see. We got this beautiful. What is it? It's a 1970 Harmony H68.
I believe it's the Jazz Artist.
Yes,
is the model number.
That is correct.
Diarmond. How do you pronounce that?
Diarmond
single coil gold foil. You can't say single coil gold. It sounds awkward.
Yeah.
But it is in pristine condition.
Yeah, it is a gorgeous guitar. It's got
close to 50-year-old guitar.
Big chunky neck on it. It
sounds nice.
It sounds great.
I ran it through. When I asked Ben, I'm like, he got it in. I'm like, have you played it? He's like, I haven't had a chance. So I got out there and one of our customers played it, and it's nice. If you're looking for a affordable vintage hollow body that's got character and spank to it,
and it's fully hollow.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. So
if you want to crank out, you can do the jazz, you can do the country, you can do.
You can do some Chet Atkins style stuff.
A little rockabilly.
Yeah, rockabilly for sure.
On there, what else? We got in a parts caster that probably a Ben Owens, early Ben Owens.
Yeah, like 2006.
Yeah, took it apart just to get the body on it. It's got the all parts. Body and neck. It's modern C shape. It's got
JB Junior single coil humbucker. It's like the stacked humbucker.
And it's got two. I would say rail hammers, but that would hot rails.
Hot rails. Yes.
So it goes hot rail. JB Juniors in the bridge.
It plays super well.
It's got the adjusting. There goes the ice cream truck. It's got at the nut. It's got an adjusting nut on it versus.
That's what that nut is. I noticed it looked a little funky.
So you can pretty much. It's not so much like when you go take it in to get intonator. You're going to do it yourself. You do all the intonation at the nut because if you look at the bridge, pretty flat.
Yeah.
Where you see all that work and there. It's got Goto, however you want to pronounce that. Tuners in there. It's a nice custom build, and if you're looking for an unusual Fender that's a little different, I know people like the Strats, but they want to get, I don't want a Fender Strat, I want something like that, and so.
Or they want a custom shop style guitar, but they don't want to pay $3,500 for it.
Most definitely, and it's in the affordable range and stuff like that. And then he had it painted kind of like white, alpine white color there. So come check those out. Anything else we got? As we're looking around the store, it does no good in an audio format.
I think that's the only new stuff we have for the moment.
We got a couple builds going on, but maybe we talk about that next episode.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll be a little further down the road with those builds.
All right. I was late and didn't post any questions up because I was working on life stuff outside the store. So next episode, we're going to post up the questions earlier. That's on me. I'll take the hit on that one.
We can do that. So yeah, just hit us with any of your questions, anything you want us to talk about. We invite a community discussion here.
I do want to say I like the feedback we got on the Tonewoods one. I've seen a lot of engagement on that, and it's cool because I think everybody definitely has their opinions on it. But I think it seems to me, reading the comments, everybody's in pretty much agreement. But the one thing about vintage versus modern, we forgot to mention.
Yeah, which was, I'm trying to remember now, because it was Mikey Allday that brought it up, I think.
Should we look it up?
Yeah. Or maybe it was Ashley Lusk.
Well, we'll stall while I look this up on my phone. Or I could edit this out.
We've talked about this before, but just a reminder to everybody, we do music lessons here at the store. Summer, we, typically we'll lose some students because kids go on vacation and stuff like that. So I know all the teachers have some open slots to fill. I've got some guitar lesson slots open. I know our piano teacher, Amy, has some. Caesar, our drum teacher. Greg Powell, our bass player, our bassist teacher. He's only got a couple of students, so he's definitely looking for some more. So, feel free to give us a call. All of our lessons are $80 a month, and we can get you set up.
Word, thanks for the stall there. Okay, hey, Mikey, is it all day?
Yeah.
Says, I think a majority of the electric tone woods are more perception, changes on the bass, how the wood feels vibrate against your body.
Yes, yeah, it is. The perception, that's the word.
And then Ashley Lusk posted, in modern electronics, I don't believe tone wood makes any difference. However, vintage guitars with unpotted pickups, I believe, does, especially if you can get past the feedback.
That's also very true. So yeah, that was the two things I guess we neglected to mention.
I don't even think about unpotted versus potted pickups because it's just like
Well, most of the time, if you have a vintage guitar, people will update the electronics and have them potted, or it's just like putting the foil down in the body, to handle.
And there's the phone.
And duty calls.
All right, we're back, and it's important. I need to hit unpause correctly on there. So that was practice. But thanks for the feedback on the tone woods. If there is another debate you think we need to have, or is there something you think Chase and I are going to disagree on, or is there something that you disagree with we said? That's all to the good, man. That's the great thing about gear and musical instruments is everybody has an opinion.
Yeah, it's just a conversation,
Conversation, so send those in. And as we move into, it's not really a question, but because I kind of dropped the ball on that one, sorry. But somebody came in the store the other day, one of our customers is going to be getting lessons and all that, and he's like, I got this amp, and I got this guitar, but I want to sound like, Eddie Van Halen or Angus Young, or I want to sound like fill in the blank who
Exactly.
the guitar is. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, can you show me how to set it up? And I'm like, all right, plug it in. So, and then I just kind of paused because I can't say it's like a rubric to set it up. You need your gain here, you need your treble here, you need your mids here, and things like that. And you came in, I'm like, can you help me out explain this? Because it's just like, I can't put it into like, here are the words. It's just like, you go up and do it. Because I think a tone is in your head.
Definitely. And like I was saying, like I was telling you a minute ago, like, it's such a multifaceted question, and there's so many variables, and there's so many different types of tone that I could talk about this for hours. But just to briefly touch on a few kind of key elements, I would say in terms of rock and roll and heavy metal and the guys that want those big Angus Young and Eddie Van Halen style tones or Slash, there are a couple of pitfalls that people fall into and this goes with solid state or tube amps really too. Those guys didn't use a lot of gain. Everybody tends to, I think, especially beginning guitar players, and I did this, turn the gain all the way up. Did you get that brrr, that big noise? But those guys didn't do that. First of all, a lot of those vintage amps that they played on, those old Marshalls and what have you, didn't have gain knobs. It's volume that's the key, and pushing the front end of the amp to saturate those tubes. But, Slash, even when he played on, newer Marshalls like the 800s and stuff, those, had gain knobs.
And was it attenuated, you think?
I don't believe it was attenuated in the studio. They just played loud, and
right.
But he had his gain on like 2. It's the volume as a weapon. It creates the sustain. And, a lot of it's just proper technique. There's the story you were telling me the other day about Ted Nugent and Eddie Van Halen, how they were hanging out in the 70s backstage when they toured together, and, they swapped guitars. He was like, when I picked up Eddie Van Halen's guitar, I thought I would sound like Eddie, but I just sounded like Ted Nugent playing
Eddie's gear.
And when Eddie picked up my Birdland, he sounded like Eddie Van Halen
on a hollow body.
So a lot of it is, there's the whole cliche of the tones in your fingers, and I know a lot of guys that bristle at that phrase, and I think that's not always the case. If you're one of those like textural guitar players like the Edge or something,
right?
No, pedals are doing some heavy lifting for you.
But he has a definite technique to it. I'm gonna jump in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is I think you listen to an Angus Young riff, or you listen to a country picker or whatever. You can see Mike Ness from Social Distortion.
Yeah.
I can hear first 2 chords and I go, that's Mike Ness playing.
Yes.
And as much as I want to I can play the same chords, I can get the same equipment, I'm still never going to sound like Mike Ness.
Right. Because there's a personality to it. It's just like, I don't know. Everybody's different, period.
Right.
And that extends into your musical personality. Everybody's got their own little peccadillos and their little things, and some guitar players just have louder personalities than other, So.
But I think the 3 things, and I was telling the customer that, is 3 important things that go into your tone. And we talked about this when we had Chris Falcon asked us about cheap amp versus cheap guitar, and all that is the guitar, the pickups in the guitar, the amp itself, and the player. Those are the 3 biggest things. So
That's true.
So, but I mean, you came out there and you did some riffs. You're like, how do you get that tone? I'm like, you're doing the uplifts, or you're doing hammer-ons, or you're doing arpeggios, or all those things in there. That adds to the tone, and I think
and basically, what it came down to with this particular guy was, I've been playing for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Because this was a solid state Marshall we have, and he's like, how'd you get it to sound like that? I'm like, well, part of it's the settings, but part of it's just the ability to play those techniques. So practice.
And I think the problem is if I want to sound like Zakk Wylde, I go buy the Zakk Wylde. You're not. I mean, like there's always going to be variables in.
I mean, the whole thing with signature gear that always gets me is 9 times out of 10 the guys that don't play their own signature stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Slash has all these signature pedals, but if you look at his board circa 1987 when he did Appetite for Destruction, it was like off the rack stuff. He wouldn't do anything special. He's just a special player.
But they say that like the Jay Mascis one, which we just recently sold, is like he went into like a Guitar Center to do a demo or something like that. He just grabbed his signature guitar right off the wall and just was like, Bam. But I mean, his setup is he plays his action is crazy honking high up there. But I mean, there's a lot of little
variables.
things.
That's why I said we could sit here and talk for hours. But if you guys have any questions about tone and how to get specific tones, that would be a good one if you wanted to submit. We can kind of go genre by genre or case by case, and I can, we can explain it a little bit more in depth.
Like DM that to the Facebook, or if you see Chase and I or whatever, let's ask us, and we'll actually old school analog write that down. But like the tone debate is one that's another big one. I mean, I don't know if it's controversial, but it's very opinionated.
Yeah, it's divisive.
Cool. Anything else we need to add, you think?
I think that's it for this week.
Right on. Well, thanks for checking us out. Please share, comment, submit questions, and I will be more vigilant on posting up on the Facebook page on that. And for our next episode, which will be coming out soon, we've been pretty regular with this.
Yes.
So, cool. Thanks a lot, everybody.
See you guys next time.